In an ever-evolving digital landscape, for your business to thrive, you must adapt or die. Welcome to Marketing in the Age of AI, the podcast helping you harness the power of AI and marketing tools to revitalize and grow your business. And now here's your host, marketing expert and author of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI, Emanuel Rose.
Welcome to this episode of Marketing in the Age of AI. Today, I'm joined with Anders Boulanger. He is the founder and CEO of Engagify. With nearly 2 decades of experience, Anders has mastered the art of engagement, helping tech companies connect with qualified prospects at trade shows across the globe. He is also the author of Engage First, Capture Attention, Build Trust, and Drive Real Results. Anders brings a wealth of knowledge, having dedicated thousands of hours to crafting meaningful interactions in business. Let's delve into his insights on commanding attention and creating deeper connections in marketing. Anders, thanks for taking the time to have a conversation with me.
Well, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you bet. Well, I sure appreciate your time today, and I love the Engagify concept. How did you end up being the event person in the marketing world?
So Engagify kind of was born out of a previous company that we were called the Infotainers. And so my background, Emanuel, is I've been a magician since I was 5 years old. So I started magic with a little Fisher-Price magic set, started doing magic at show and tell at schools. I started doing birthday parties when I was 12, getting paid to do magic shows. Paid my way through university, got a physics degree, didn't never really use that Bachelor of Science. And then I got trained by a man who did trade shows at a high level as a trade show magician. Nice. And so that's where I started kind of building this idea of infotainment out, the idea that the information about the company that they want conveyed, the marketing message, is conveyed in a way that is engaging, that it's fun to learn, right, when you're having a good time. And so that was that entertainment side of that, sort of the spoonful of sugar that helps the medicine go down. And so that was where we kind of built out our business, working for companies like Microsoft, Fortinet, Veeam Software, a lot of tech companies. Yeah. Mostly because of that technical complexity needs a nice metaphor to kind of explain it, right?
Yeah.
And so that idea of making events more engaging, and then also making the teams more engaging, because that's where a lot of my passion is too, is these kind of engagement skills that I think we're we're lacking. And there's various reasons, why that's the case. But that's kind of where the company was born out of, was this kind of infotainment side of things at trade shows.
Wow, that's really awesome. I mean, I have done a million trade shows, like a lot of us, and it's usually either really awkward conversation or some tchotchke that I don't really need, every time you stop at a booth. So what an awesome way to create connection for people.
Well, and it's nice to be able to create an event that people didn't even know they wanted to be a part of, right? Like it's a little bit like corporate street performing. If you've ever seen a street performer in a park or at a fair somewhere, yeah, you kind of you're wondering what they're doing, and then you kind of take a closer look, and then you kind of get sucked into it. So it's very similar in that way, that every trade show booth wants qualified prospects to be coming to their trade show booth. And what you just said too, Emanuel, about the tchotchke, right? Like the giveaway, sometimes that's the only thing that companies can lean on, is I guess I'm going to spike dopamine with this gimmick, this thing, right? Yeah. And then they do it, and it makes it very transactional. It's very kind of tit for tat. You're scanning a badge for, giving away a gift. But if there's a little bit more to it, if we're able to stop them, capture their attention, and then build some connection through a mutual experience, which is these infotainment presentations, now all of a sudden you get, and this is what I'm passionate about, is I love looking around and seeing the diversity of where people are from, where, you know, what they look like, how they sound.
Yeah.
We're all having fun together, and we've changed their state and created a memorable moment in their day, right? And so, you know, when you look at marketing, we want a message to get across.
For sure.
But to be remembered, you know, that's the tricky thing, because everyone's trying to say the same thing in the same ways, you know?
Well, I'm going to jump right to the good stuff, which is, tell me one or two of your favorite trade show events that you put together, and tell us about what went into building that out.
Well, and just to be fair too, that, you know, building it out, we are kind of an add-on to companies.
Yeah.
So, you know, some of the neat booths we've been a part of, one of them comes to mind just because the theme was so strong, was last year at Amazon AWS reInvent. I was part of a team of people who were the kind of the, I guess the engagement team, if you will, for a booth that looked like a mid-century airport. So if you think Catch Me If You Can kind of idea, right? Like that 60s kind of thing. And so I was dressed as a pilot, actually, in this case. And I don't really like to dress up too much in terms of themes, because I'm afraid I don't want to become a mascot. You know, I want to be there to engage the right way. But then my engagement specialists looked like flight attendants from back in the day. And what happened is, by committing to that theme, it made it a really unique situation, because, you know, the booth had a certain look. We were all kind of assuming the role. And then I was having fun because I had a microphone, and I'd pull up I had a fake plastic thing where I could make little announcements like I'm a pilot. So that was a lot of fun to stop people in the aisles and get them interested in participating in the experience. So, yeah.
So then talk about a little bit, and maybe this is in your book, Engage First, but what are some of the core principles that you've developed over the years from your magician background, combining that with high tech, challenging, abstract products?
Yeah, for sure. So one of the things that one of the acronyms we came up with that is a great acronym for people who want to keep attention, or if you've lost attention somehow, maybe in a presentation, how do I get it back, right? And so we use what we call Save You. So SAVEU, okay? And so the S is super important in tech because it's for simplifying, right?
Yes.
Emanuel, you've probably seen some marketing websites, right? I mean, the website of a company, and you're just like, what the hell are they talking about here, right? Just as far as the copy, as far as whatever it is. So tech has a lot of complexity, and just in general, we want to make things simple as possible. In fact, my original acronym was longer, and I said, I got to take my own medicine here, right? Exactly. So the S is for simplify. So we got to have those metaphors, have those analogies, right? In this case, an acronym. A is for authority or authenticity. Okay. So that's that idea that one of the great examples is how we talk about something. Emanuel, if I was talking like this the whole time, and I was trying to tell you about how I'm an expert, and I'm going up on my sentence, it sounds like I'm asking questions. It's undermining my authority. If I was in a torn T-shirt right now, that would be undermining my authority. You know, all these different ways of framing that, right?
Sure.
So there's that. That's the A, okay? The V is for varying the senses, or visual, auditory, kinesthetic. And this is where, if you're performing to a crowd of people, there's going to be a variety of preferences for what they would like to have. I'm a very visual person. In fact, I feel so confined, Emanuel, in this little box because my hands, I can't express myself completely.
We got to get you farther away from the camera.
There we go. Yeah. Oh, that's better. Okay, good. So in that, when we're talking to a crowd of people, you kind of got a shotgun approach. So you're talking about visual, auditory, kinesthetic, using the words that you use. Okay.
Yeah.
So seeing, is this crystal clear to you? Does this sound good? You know, those kind of words, those predicates they call them.
Yep.
Okay. And then the E is emotional. And so this is where, you know, we want to be remembered. We want to move people. Telling stories is a great way to create emotion in the people that we are trying to influence, trying to persuade or communicate to. And so many companies try to be like so buttoned up that they avoid emotion. right? And I think
right.
that's a big mistake. So
Yeah.
we want them to feel something. Maybe it's frustrated to peace of mind or something, right? Like maybe there's this dichotomy, this shift. And then the last piece is you, which is about really like you focused. So it's the letter U, but this is a bit of a cheat. And that is what's in it for me, everybody's favorite radio station.
Yeah, right.
So it's what's going to benefit you listening, or what do you need to avoid so you don't, have harm come to you, right? Or
threats or opportunities. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And that's just pull for a pure like evolutionary kind of, preserve people. So that's a little something that people can take away to save you.
Well, so then how do you start to deconstruct like say an author's event? You're selling your book now, and let's say you're in a group of six authors for a book signing. How would you, as the author and the practitioner of Engagify, how would you create that in an author signing?
So to compete with them, or just to make
not
it
to compete, but just to make it engaging and bring people into your booth to get the book signed.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I would just because magic is kind of in my back pocket all the time, I'd probably crank up a little something just to make it fun. And if there was a crowd of people, give them a little bit of a gift in the idea of that performance, right? And then we do have like a shared experience right then and there. And then of course be able to customize, perhaps as I would sign the books, to reference maybe what just happened. And so that kind of locks that in, because oftentimes I say, when you give a presentation, there is the presentation that you want to give, which is kind of like the word for word perfect one. And then there's the presentation or the experience that people need. Right. And that's
not always the same.
No. In fact, whenever I was recorded on video, I was always like, okay, I want to do that like perfect, but the people there, when something weird happens, you embrace that difference, or embrace that, or the contrast that just happened. It makes them feel like, oh, I was so glad I was here for this. Right. And I think that's a takeaway as well, is how can you make people glad they were here for whatever you're sharing with them? And if that becomes, unique and special, and you underline it and celebrate that, I think that goes a long way in terms of standing out in someone's day, being remembered, and creating an engaging experience.
Yeah. And so I think we talked a little bit about this before we came on air, which is that live events, I think we both agree, that are going to be more and more important in the business atmosphere because of the avalanche of content and outreach that's happening because of AI. So I guess what are some things, what's kind of the cheat sheet that you have for maybe a small marketing department in terms of how they would approach live events for their people?
For sure. I think just kind of tagging on to what you just said there too, Emanuel, is that, trust. Right now, events are the most trusted form of information coming from a company. So if you want to learn about a product, getting your butt to an event is a way to actually talk with subject matter experts in that space. So definitely knowing that the companies who are going to be exhibiting at live events, make sure that they're bringing the right people, that's going to lend to that integrity, lend to that expertise, because again, everything can be made up on AI and all the pictures. And in fact, I got something to share with you. There's some other performer in my, I guess, kind of in the space, and he started posting pictures of himself with huge crowds of people at his client's booth. And I mean, we do that when we capture those pictures.
Sure.
But guess where those pictures came from?
He grabbed them from you?
No, he used AI.
Oh, no.
Make the crowd of people.
He had some 7-finger people.
Yeah. And if you look really closely, there's a woman with her head on backwards, right? And so there was this kind of like, so for me, that was a little bit like, whoa, we're trying to like this idea that in-person events have this level of, authenticity, have this level of, they're existing because you're there with them, at them.
Exactly.
But that whole repurposing of content after the fact, there's shades of gray of realism there, which is kind of strange. So definitely as events, again, I think they're going to become even more trusted. Companies going there to also capitalize on the engagement side of things. Now, you probably knew I was going to say that because my company's called Engagify.
I would hope so. Yeah.
Yeah.
How many softballs do I have to throw to you?
So that piece there is that they do have to invest in their people, right? So there's some crazy stats, Emanuel, for boost staff training. 49% of companies rarely or never train their boost staff. So they spend hundreds of thousands of dollars potentially in a booth.
Yeah.
And their boost staff can make or break the show for them, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so it's the last thing that ever gets loved. In fact, only 1% of companies ever use a professional third-party vendor to train their boost staff.
Wow.
So it's kind of in this space, though. I think that side of it, as we lean into events more, as we need that trusted source of information and legitimacy, I think that the companies who do that really well are going to leapfrog past their competitors who don't.
Yeah, that's just so fascinating. I mean, I spent a lot of time at CES in kind of mid 90s, and it would be a car, a girl in a bikini, or a stress ball, right? Like that was the only kind of engagement.
The trifecta. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Maybe no, not even that. Occasionally I'd go to an outdoor show and there'd be like some old football player who would be Larry Zonk could be signing autographs or something. But that is not like you said, it's super transactional too. So this idea of the entertainment at the booth, I would just give me an example of something that you did that you're happy with the way that it came out. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm a big fan of finding performance content that is, it's message friendly, meaning I can plug in and talk about different things. And for the most part, we find that companies are talking about saving money or making money for whoever's buying them. We're talking about saving time. Time and money is productivity, if you combine those. And the third one is peace of mind. And so really everyone's selling that, if you look at that. So if I'm able to kind of convey that, then we're in pretty good shape. Yeah. I often gamify my presentation. So I give someone a chance to win $2,000 at the end of my performance.
Okay.
So that, of course, spikes dopamine, makes people want to watch.
Yeah.
It also opens a story loop where people, if am I going to get picked? Or if I don't get picked, whoever gets picked, are they going to win? And they need closure to that, right? So that's one of the things that is part of my performances. I've been known to do a Russian roulette with staple guns, with 4 staple guns. Oh. So we load up one staple gun. And again, there's risk involved, right? People want to see what's going to happen. It's also such a strange thing to see someone with a staple gun to their forehead while you're walking down a trade show. So, and that's a thing for me, is that I love this kind of, what the hell is this, like litmus test?
Yeah.
That you're walking by and you go, what the hell's going on here? Right. And you want to watch, and then you realize, there is some relevance. What he's talking about, talks about some of the situations that I'm in, and whatever, if that person's an engineer in a company, or, maybe a solutions engineer, what have you. So with that, we're kind of creating that relevancy, that context, it's sticking. And then you get sucked into watching because you're having fun, right? And so that's just kind of another example. Of course, I do stuff with cards, I do stuff with ropes, I do different things. But those are, maybe some of the ones that are a little bit more, visually taken aback, right?
Yeah.
Just to see what's that all about.
And then do you set it up so that you're the performer, and then that the company are supporting you, their booth?
So
you, or tell me a little bit about that process.
This is kind of how it starts. Is I just start standing on the floor. There's not really anything happening. I turn on my microphone, and we'll start with one person or 2 people. Yeah. And I just start having fun with them, and we're doing magic, we're engaging. And then before you know it, all of a sudden the crowd gets a little bit bigger. I get up on a stage, and when I get on the stage, I get on page, meaning I bring in the script.
Yeah.
So if I bring in the script a little too soon or to start talking about the company, I don't want to repel them, right?
Right.
So then we build that crowd out as big as we can, and at the end, we're going to do a little bit of a qualification or call to action that's combined in that. So just like a sales letter, right? Just like anything else. So we'd say, how many people here are looking at this solution, this type of solution, in the next 6 to 12 months, or and we look for these hand raises.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, all the booth staff
salivating on it. Yeah.
they're watching, right? I tell them, hey, when I get to the end, when I get close, because I'm going to do this. And then the other thing is, what is that call to action? So sometimes it is just pure catch and release. We've scanned their badges, they can go. Maybe they get a little gift at the end just for thank them for watching.
Sure.
Sometimes it's an upsell their time and attention to a deeper dive. So there's a demo. So we'll then say, how many people here in the next 3 minutes would like to learn how to save time, save money, and save your sanity?
Right.
Right? You've already spent 20 minutes with what's another 3 minutes? They go, yeah, okay, makes sense. Follow me. And then I bring them over to the demo person. And then the people who are really interested, really qualified, they stay longer than 3 minutes.
Sure.
Right? So it's an idea of when you do trade show presentations, you get to speak to the masses with your message. Right. And then be able to then filter through them. And maybe in sometimes companies, they're only looking for one sale to make a show worthwhile if they've got a very high average contract value. So it just depends on the company, but that's kind of the process. And then we rinse and repeat throughout the day.
I love it. That's really cool. You're like a busker, a corporate busker.
Yeah.
It gives me hope. That's what my joke is. I play the guitar so that when AI is taking over all the jobs, I have a way to make some money.
There you go. Yeah. Well, I think you'd be happy. I think you'd be happy doing that busking,
Oh, what amazing. All right. Well, I appreciate you taking some time to run through it. I have about 1,000 other questions for you, but I know you got a lot of things to do. So I probably try to get you back on the show sometime in June or July, and then
I'd love it.
Get the rest of my questions out, because I do love the idea of engaging people and telling stories and making the experience triggering for the human.
Yeah, well, leaning into humanness we're really big about that, rehumanizing business through engagement. My website is Engagify.ai, but the AI stands for authentic interactions.
So there you go. I love it. Yeah. All right, very nice. Anders, I know there'll be lots of links in the show notes, but how do people get in touch with you if they want to have a conversation?
Yeah, for sure. Well, LinkedIn is probably where I hang out the most as far as social. So it's LinkedIn/Anders Boulanger. Look at the notes so we don't have to spell it. And then also on my website, Engagify.ai, ENGAGIFY.ai.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time, and I appreciate you sharing some stories with me today.
Awesome. Thanks for having me on, Emanuel. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Well, it's good. It's good stuff there from Anders Boulanger, and I'm committed to saying his name correctly both times at least. So I hope you got some value from the concept of engaging people and reconnecting with some humanity, and maybe even entertaining them a little bit as a way in to create a relationship and have a conversation. I hope you got some value, and I hope that you take some time to research how to build custom GPTs or find an AI tool that will help you win back some time from your work week. And with that time, you continue to upskill, that you take some time to spend with your friends and family, and that you get away from the screens, get out in nature, and discover some of your humanity. This is Emanuel Rose, Marketing in the Age of AI.
Thanks for listening to Marketing in the Age of AI. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. Your copy of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI is available at Amazon.com or EmanuelRose.com. You can also connect with Emanuel on LinkedIn. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.